Hello, friends. Welcome to the debut episode of Thunderous Thursdays. I'm your host and host, Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja. So, as you know already, since the past Monday, I've started with the two new series in this year. Monday would be Miraculous Mondays, or you can say it will be Management Mondays, because that will include the practice management and the medical legal aspects. And Thursdays have been rechristened as Thunder Thursdays or Thunderous Thursdays. In these two, I'll try to take actually short topics, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, and delve it over. It is not exactly a webinar, it is not exactly a YouTube video, the short video, I mean to say. It is a somewhere in between the two. I've tried to merge both the worlds where you get the concept also in shortest possible time, and of course with the screen share as well. But again, this has been my endeavor in this year to try something out new. So hence this new series of Miraculous Mondays and Thunder Thursdays. Of course, I'll as episodes go on, I'll be dealing with many different case studies as well. For example, I dealt with the convincing of the patient, and of course the lawful aspects of abandoning or you can say continuing the treatment even if the patient does not pay you, or even if the patient does not come on time, or whatever reasons, the lawful reasons. And of course the steps we take, how we actually convince them, and what are the things we need to observe. That was discussed in the first episode of Management Mondays or Miraculous Mondays, just 3 days back. So in the coming episode, of course I'll be taking up a few problems. For example, in the coming Monday, I'll be taking up a beautiful case study, a practical or a genuine problem faced by a group member, a WhatsApp group member of mine. You all must be by now fully aware that I run two WhatsApp groups since almost 4 years now, uh, just as a gesture of paying back to the society. So these again are modeled on those lines only. But let's skip the Miraculous Mondays for a minute, and let's go back to the Thunder Thursdays, which we are actually, you can say, dealing with today. So this episode of uh, financial freedom, or you can say Thunderous Thursdays, has been actually designed to help all the colleagues. So let me please allow me to share my screen so that I can begin today's proceedings. I hope a few of you are logged in already, or if not, you can join me on the FB page. So I'm going to share my screen. Just allow me a minute for that, please. So welcome officially to the Thunder Thursday or the Thunderous Thursdays, Finance for Healthcare Professionals. This is not only for dentists. This is finance for health for all healthcare professionals, maybe common man as well. So this is episode number 1 of week of 26 episode. We have planned to take up till the 30th of June. So let's hope this trial of mine gets successful, and I continue to share even in the second half as well, or at least come up with something new in that aspect. So as usual, all my presentations, big or small, will always begin with thanking the Lord Almighty, who's given me much more than what I deserve. And when it comes to finance, I have to acknowledge my dad as well, who has been instrumental in teaching me the clinical part of finance, whatever I am delving or sharing with you all today. So many of you would ask me, what gives you authority? Who don't know me actually. Many of you in my friend list on my page are those who don't know me actually well. So what gives you authority? Uh, this gives me a little bit of authority over other people to share a few things with you. This is my brief CV. You all are aware of it by now. So many of you know it. Many of you, if you don't know, this is my brief CV to be sharing with you. So today's topic for the session would be, what should be your mutual fund strategy in 2022? Do we need to explore other options? Or will equity be as lucrative as it was in 2020 and 2021? So it is a point to ponder, of course. Yes, we all know the market fell The Sensex fell close to 25,000 in March, April 2020, when the COVID one wave was there and a sudden lockdown was inserted into our daily schedule. Suddenly, our freedom was blocked and the market reacted badly. The markets world over reacted badly. But then they quickly recovered. They so much so recovered that their returns were visible in December 2020 as well. And Jan to December 2021, those 12 months were humongous for mutual fund and equity industry. And people have this mindset. There are always naysayers kind of people who will always say, नहीं अब थोड़ा ना चलेगी, दो साल दे दिया रिटर्न, अब थोड़ा ना देगी. But then there will be people who will be optimistic. They will always say, नहीं नहीं नहीं, ये तो देती ही रहेगी रिटर्न्स ऐसे ही. इक्विटी है लंबा चलेगी. अभी तो ओमिक्रॉन आ गया है, तो कोविड में तो हम सेकंड वेव में भी कितना ग्रो की थी मार्केट. So people will have their all kinds of opinions. But what you need to do? I'll share a case study with you today as well in brief. So people have started not exploring other options or reducing other options, actually thinking that yes, equities are so lucrative, equities are so handsome, they are giving so much returns, let's stick with them. And once you keep on sticking with your equities, you are definitely going to increase your exposure and decrease your exposure in other things, which is actually bad. Why do I say that? Because what should be your strategy? Let's come to the first point. I would always say the year does not matter. What matters is the mindset. What mindset do you have? People are thinking of early retirement. Sab paisa dal do equity mein. There is a reason there are formulas based in the industry. There is a reason that even in spite of the Harshad Mehta scam, even in spite of the other scams, even in spite of the other, you can say, crisis, I would say, the dot-com crisis, the other bubbles, which actually caused a problem. Then there was job crisis in 2007-8. Many, you can say a great recession, which we witnessed firstly in 1930s, 1929-30. We witnessed again in 2007-12. Of course, India was not affected much during that time, but the world over, the strategy was such. But the market has overcome. If you look back at the historical returns of past, if not more, 20 to 30 years, equities have given a 12% fixed return. Or you can say, I'll reframe my word, at least a 12% return. The average I'm talking about. There have been periods like 2021 where the returns have been humongous. 45, 50, 55% returns have been witnessed in you can say the year to year from Jan to December 2021. But yes, there have been years with minus returns as well. So when we take the average, it is close to 12. So yes, there will be off and on, plus and minus both periods. But you need to remember there is a formula. The classical formula is 100 minus your age. Of course, people would say, what does it mean? It means if you are 30-year-old, you will have lesser liabilities on your hand. Your equity exposure should be 100 minus 30. 70% of your exposure of investment should be in equity. As you grow older, you turn 60, your exposure should be 100 minus 60, 40% in equity. Some would say 40% is huge at the age of 60. I'm retiring. For example, those who are in job, I'm retiring. Is that exposure, you can say, huge? Yes. To an extent, you can say yes. But then what is the solution? The solution is the Indian conditions or the Indian formula. The Indian formula says 80 minus your age. That means even at 30, your exposure may be 50. 80 minus 30. Even at 60, your exposure should be 20. Equity का साथ कभी नहीं छोड़ना है, चाहे आप retirement की कगार पे हो. That is the bottom line of today. Of course, I'll give you the carry home things as well, but this is the bottom line of today. More or less is always your choice. People will not have a risk averse mindset. They will always feel uncomfortable while staying invested in the market. What does it has to go with? Our parents. Our parents who have, you can say, made hay of a money, you can say ponds of money, pots of money using fixed deposits at 14, 15, 16%. I myself had those at 13% in 2003 and 4. Not too long back, but even I was, you can say 26, 27 at that time. But it is very difficult to make our parents adjusted to this mindset of equity, of mutual funds. For them, everything linked to market is unsafe. Mutual funds are not like stocks that they will crash. A share of Yes Bank can come sliding down from 340 to 2 rupees, 7 rupees, 5 rupees, whatever it came down to. It will never come down to this level. It does not happen with mutual fund industry. It works in a very, very different way. There are fund managers who are controlling the output. Every time they see a dip, they automatically change the exposure. Of course, to learn more about mutual funds, I have 15 short videos already on my channel. You can watch them. At least the basic glossary and basic introduction would be clear to you. But if I say more or less, it is always your choice. Try that. It is never a less. Even with the Indian formula. So even at 60 years of age, your exposure should never go below 20. Less should never be an option with you. It should never be an option. So I know many of you might be thinking that if I am retiring, why do I need to? Because retired people have a different mindset. They say, तुम youngsters की बात और है, तुम आज में जीते हो, तुम्हारी ख्वाहिशें बहुत हैं, हमने दाल फुल्का खाना है, that's it. People will have their own mindset. The problem is not that. The problem is that old people may have, I'm sorry I'm calling 60 plus old, but of course not too old at that stage also. But even those people may have, you can say, wishes which are unfulfilled. Maybe in the raising of their children, maybe in the duties of their life, they want to fulfill, maybe go for a world tour, maybe go for a vacation, maybe go for whatever. So even they will need some exposure to equity, which will give them at least a handsome return on some portion of their accumulated corpus. Of course, debt is a personal choice. Now, do we need to explore other options? You can say the market has run up quite a bit. The valuations are very high. बहुत डबल हो चुकी है मार्केट 25,000 चला गया था, अब तो 62 पे अक्टूबर एंड में 62,000 टच करके आया है. अब क्या, अब नहीं, अब तो ठंडी पड़ जाएगी, अब ऊपर नहीं जाएगी. सो अब कुछ नया ट्राई करते हैं. नया क्या है? ओनली वन थिंग, क्रिप्टो करेंसी. The cryptocurrency bill was supposed to be tabled in the winter session. Unfortunately, it could not be, because the government actually did not feel like taking a step. They wanted other countries of the world to take a step first. They said they started sending out feelers to other countries. Whatever we take a decision about cryptocurrency, it should be in sync with the member nations. It should be such, it should be that. No nation actually responded. RBI is in full favor of completely banning the cryptocurrency and coming out with an Indian version of cryptocurrency. Of course, too far-fetched, I would say. But yes, something is definitely on the cards. If not in the winter, it surely should be tabled in the budget session, and expect the government to do completely opposite. Similar to our stock market. जो लोग सोचते हैं मार्केट उससे हमेशा ऊपर करती है. When the valuations were going high in March and April 2021, the market, लोगों ने बहुत वैल्यूएशन, अब तो पक्का करेक्शन होगी, 10-15% करेक्शन होगी. Market rose further. It touched the highs and highs and highs. At, you can say, 56,000 people were expecting a correction. It touched 62,000. Of course, some correction was there in November and in December as well. But at the end of the year, even after the correction in 2 months of November and December, the returns were humongous, huge. So जो आप सोचते हैं मार्केट हमेशा उससे ऊंचा, because there is not only a retail investor. Retail investor हमारे जैसा शायद 1 या 2% है टोटल मार्केट का, जिसकी उसमें से भी थॉट प्रोसेस ऐसे वाले 0.00001 या 2% होंगे. But there are institutional investors, domestic, foreign, FII, DIIs, as we say. So, or plus the sharks, the big fishes, or you can say the market ke badshahs which control the market. There are many people. हमारे जैसे छोटे मोटे रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स से फर्क नहीं पड़ता मार्केट. इट विल नेवर, ना कभी पड़ा था ना कभी पड़ेगा. ऑफ कोर्स पड़ेगा इज अ टू फार फेच्ड, मे बी, यू नेवर नो. सो इट इज द टाइम टू पॉन्डर. क्रिप्टो करेंसी में जाएं कि ना जाएं. I saw the other day somebody was actually, you can say, acknowledging a good book published in cryptocurrency by a female author. Of course, very nice to make a concept understandable. But then there are certain things which are beyond your control in cryptocurrency. If it is not a regulated currency, you just have your mobile screen to view your investments, or maybe a PC screen. And suddenly, if your investment disappears, poof, what will you do? Who will you complain? There is no regulating body. It might disappear overnight. You can't say, नहीं, इतनी reputation थोड़ा ना है. Crypto है, कहीं भी गायब हो सकती है. So those who are investing, please be careful. Unless it is a regulated currency, I will not advise you. Now, again, the question is, will equity be as lucrative as it was in 2020 and 2021? Will it go up and further make new highs? So answer to this depends upon the first quarter of the year. What is there? If you remember last year when the budget was tabled, we were, you can say, getting close to normalcy in Indian part of the subcontinent. Of course, the Europe and the American subcontinent was still struggling with the second wave. We were thinking now, okay, अब 10 महीने 11 महीने बाद दुनिया normal आई. And the budget was tabled. It was a reasonable budget, but the market reacted blockbuster way. 2700 पॉइंट मार्केट ऊपर गई थी और अगले 3 दिन में तकरीबन 5000 पॉइंट मार्केट ऊपर गई थी. लगातार 3 दिन 5000 points up. It all depends how the reaction is. Market works on emotional basis. If the valuations go up, if the market goes up, so will the index and so will your funds and the prices accordingly. So you have to think whether the equity will go up or whether you should put in more in your equity. डालें, ना डालें, काटें, ना काटें, क्या करें? So many investors actually thought that a laddu is on their way in the form of equities in 2021. इससे बढ़िया तो कोई investment ही नहीं है. So they changed their debt and equity ratio, reduced their exposure to gold. Whatever the gold was at the first tranche price, it is almost same or slightly lower than that only in the 8th tranche in December. So approximately gold की growth है ही नहीं है. But that is absolutely fine. Why not? If you remember, I had taken up a session in May, 24th of May, if I remember correctly, on gold. And I had given a correct relationship between that gold and equities work in an inverse way. If the equity markets are doing good, gold will go negative and vice versa. So equity returns have been humongous. So naturally, gold was bound to at least stay at the same. But then people compare it to August 2020 highs. Gold also touched 60K, like the equity market, 62K. Of course, that K is different from this K. So why it is still reeling at 48, 47,000, 45,000? Why it is revolving around that? That's perfectly okay. Traditionally speaking, Even gold out of past 40 years has given positive, hugely positive returns in 32 years. That is a 80% record. And as you all know, 80-20 principle is applicable in every sphere of your life. So why can gold be an exception? Now people have actually said डेट से निकालो, गोल्ड से निकालो, सारा इक्विटी में डाल दो, इक्विटी ग्रो कर रही है. जब सारा पैसा जाएगा तो सारा ग्रो करेगा. पीपल फॉरगेट दिस थिंग. जब नीचे जाएगी तो भी सारी नीचे ही जाएगी. लेकिन अगर आपकी प्रपोर्शन सही होगी, डिवीजन सही होगी आपके पोर्टफोलियो की, तो वो नीचे नहीं जाएगी. कुछ पोर्शन नीचे जाएगा, कुछ पोर्शन नहीं जाएगा. That is why they always say balancing is important. अगर किसी काम से हमको पैसा आता है तो क्या वो काम हम 24 घंटे करते हैं? मैक्सिमम 8, 10, 12, 14, not beyond that. We can't do it. We are after all humans. We get tired. We can't give the same efficiency. Of course, this efficiency has got nothing to do with the, you can say with the markets, of course. But what I mean to say is that we need to understand that we need to have a balanced portfolio. Some portion of equity, some portion of debt, some portion of gold, and of course, the bare essentials. And all this should usually not include any debt. Being a banker's son, I can only say that. So if I have case studies of people who have started thinking of early retirement, drastically changing their debt equity ratios at the age of 40s. They have started putting in almost 90% in equity, which is a dangerous step. I warned them. Whether they listen to me or not, time will tell. It is possible. Early retirement is possible, but does not mean that you push in more. If you are investing 5 lakhs, the whole 5 lakhs should not go in equity. That is the bottom line. Per year, I'm talking, of course. Thinking that history will repeat itself each year is not always so good. So we need to understand that very, very clearly. Yes, historically, equity may give you different figures. I have placed the statistical data in front of you. From January 83 to 87, 88 to 92, 93 to 97, 98 to 2002, when dot-com bubble was there, the equity returns in red, equity is in red, are in minus also for the 4 years. Then from 2003 to 7, 43%. Again, 8 to 12, when the recession set in, minus 0.86%. So there are crests and troughs which are there in the cases of equities as well. And it is a no-brainer that every election year, usually market goes much up. Usually, market goes much up. Of course, the Lok Sabha elections I'm talking about. So, what is my final carry-home gyan for you? Avoid falling into a bias trap. Avoid that, please. Bias ये है कि equity ने इतना दिया है तो अगले साल भी इतना देगी. That is not sure. That is not a given. So allocate wisely. I told you a portion of that. Of course, for me, the debt mutual fund terminology does not exist. I'm saying it openly on the national platform or whatever you can say. For me, debt mutual fund नाम की चीज नहीं होती है. Merely the new debt is you can say the provident funds or the PPFs, or you can say similar kind of, or the EPFs, you can say. They are the new debt definitions for me. I remember when nobody gave the solution of keeping the money in high interest saving bank accounts way back in 2016 and 17, I was the first one to give it openly. Nobody listened to it. Nobody paid heed to it. सबके दिमाग में वही था, nationalized bank safe है, private bank safe नहीं है. It took a yes bank fiasco to make them realize that government values equally the private and the nationalized banks. Still, many people still ask me the same question. Private bank करें, then the question comes, private में small finance bank करें. Now the small finance bank also have been accorded the RBI business, or the, you can say, the government business. They can also open PPFs and Sukanyas now. Obviously, if somebody, there are restrictions in terms of small finance banks. You can't delegate a financial institution into a bigger license immediately. What was SDFC and ICICI? They were financial institutions. Look at HDFC today. It is the biggest private bank. कितने बैंक खा गया? South Indian Bank खा गया, Lord Krishna खा गया, Bank of Punjab खा गया, Centurion Bank खा गया. कितने बैंक खाएगा HDFC? It is the biggest bank now. तो ये भी private है. अगर ये safe नहीं है तो why do people go to this bank? All RBI regulated banks are safe. Period. No further comments on that. No further debates on that. You still want to go with nationalized banks? I can't force you. It's your choice. So always think of allocating wisely. For me, the new debt is the PPF or the EPF. EPF for the salad, of course. Debt mutual fund terminology does not exist in my dictionary at all, especially in today's COVID times since the past 2 years, especially after the Franklin Templeton Debt Mutual Fund fiasco in April 2020. The payments have still not been made till date, close to 2 years. Supreme Court ने allow कर दिया, सारा कुछ कर दिया, लेकिन अभी भी बहुत लोगों को payments नहीं. Your choice. You still want to keep it in liquid funds, mutual funds, your choice. You still can go for it. My dictionary does not contain them. I'm very clear. I keep things very simple. Then stay away from chasing high yields. यार क्रिप्टो में बहुत पैसा है, पता कुछ नहीं है, पड़ोसी ने लगा दिया तो मैं भी लगा दूं. प्लीज डोंट डू दैट. लॉजिक पता है तो बहुत कुछ कीजिए, लॉजिक नहीं पता तो कुछ ना कीजिए. देन डू नॉट एग्जिट गोल्ड बिकॉज ऑफ इट्स रीसेंट अंडर परफॉर्मेंस. मैंने आपको बोला 32 times out of 40 it has given returns. If it is 32 out of 41 years, the ratio still stays close to 80%. Or it still stays close to 80-20. What is the worry? सब कुछ थोड़ा ना grow कर जाएगा. The fixed yields are less. There was, you can say, excessive liquidity in the market, because of which equity markets flourished. So naturally the gold could not perform. So that is fine. They always share an inverse relationship with the stocks. Then buying on dips may not always be a winning strategy. 10%, 5%, 2% करेक्शन हुआ, मार्केट खरीद लें. आज जैसे मार्केट टैंक किया 700 पॉइंट खरीद लें. Why? Keep some patience. The market was on a rally for last 4 days. 31st, 3rd, 4th and 5th. लगातार 4 दिन मार्केट 3000 पॉइंट ऊपर गई. Almost close to that. But then आज 800 पॉइंट गिरी तो आज खरीद लें. Why? Wait, time आएगा. The final slide. Always remember, identify your financial goals. आपको अपने goals पता होने चाहिए. I completed a finance workshop with 27 people. I was actually shocked to find a numbers of a few of them, or the ideology of few of them in the one-to-one session that I did with them. Yes, some were exceptional. Some were crystal clear about their goals, but the others had no idea. They were either not investing or just investing blindly. And their portfolios were like a Nippon's portfolio, or you can say a Tata's portfolio. What do I mean by that? They were invested in 15 mutual funds. Out of that, 13 belong to Nippon, or maybe invested in 10 funds. Out of that, 8 or 9 belong to Tata. And trust me, except one, or maybe you can say 1 or 2 categories, Tata or Nippon funds do not feature in any of the top 5 categories of any segregated ratios or any segregated categories of mutual funds. Nothing against these two. But yes, those who are getting the returns should get the due credit. That is the bottom line. I have nothing against it. I still have Nippon mutual fund in my portfolio. It may not be in top 5, but it is giving good returns, of course, in certain sectors. But you have to identify those sectors. Then start saving more. Unless you save more, you cannot invest more. That is a bottom line. Then if you have saved more, you can start investing. Retire your debt before you retire yourself. Always, always. That is a no-brainer. Being a banker son, I will be always against this word of 4 letters, DEBT, LOAN. I'll be always against this. I understand it is not totally possible to avoid loans or debt in these days, but try doing it as much as you can. Borrowed from, you can say, family at 0%, borrowed from your parents at 0%, or whatever. Yes, if your goals are really higher, practice goals, I mean to say, you can still go in for it. But all this will come if you are the bottom line, financially literate. That has been my endeavor. That has been my goal. I know this video has been a tad long, but then when I get into the flow, I always get emotional because of this line. I want every dentist in India, at least, if not all the healthcare professionals, every dentist in India to be financially literate. Come on, it is your own money. If you are not bothered about your money, who else will be? Don't expect a third person to be really worried about your money. Please. That is carry home advice for me. So I know I have put you in a think mode. The mind is saying this. What should I do? And your heart says that you be a future, you can say, a predictor. You watch it where it is, how 2022 will unfold for you. So with these thoughts, thank you so much for watching this video, for watching this short video come webinar. So this is my YouTube channel. There are close to 400 videos. Do watch as much as you can, any of the videos you can or you want. There is so much content out there for all of you. It has been created for all of you. So these are my contacts. You can contact me. Any of you wants to be added in my free WhatsApp groups can message me at the given number. So again, my social media presence, most of the webinars will happen either on my profile page or my FB page itself. So it'll be on the FB for the next 25 weeks more. The week 1 is done for both. So I'll be there. So do send me your feedback on the FB page or on my WhatsApp page or in the WhatsApp group, wherever you are. So Bookers and Brickbats both would be welcome. Thank you once again, and I will stop my share for any questions from any of you on the FB page if there are. So let me just check. Hello Poonam ma'am, hello Ale, hello Gaurav, hello Vrindaji. Hi Ale, hi Rajat, hi Minhaj, hi Vinita ma'am, thank you so much. Any questions, please feel free to voice them. I'm here for another 2 minutes and I'll surely try to answer them as much as I can as per my ability. Surely. So as I was saying, in the next episode, as hota na serial khatam hota to dikhate in the next episode you will watch this. So the next episode is on Monday for Management Mondays or Miraculous Mondays. It is on the practice management and medical legal part. So this Tuesday, I guess, right immediately after the Miraculous Monday, I received a query from a group member. Of course, the identity is not to be disclosed. So I sent him or her back the solution, but I took a permission from him or her that I wanted to share this with my, you can say, FB viewers, of course, without your identity being disclosed, because this is the practical scenario which we encounter in our clinics more or less every now and then. So what I felt right, I'll be suggesting you, but there are a few things which I can't type you back. So I'll be taking this session live. Of course, I will be doing those aspects, whichever there are those. So Dr. Vinita ma'am asks, what is the best option for liquid funds or fixed deposits? Ma'am, I told in the category that the debt fund, liquid fund category does not exist in my dictionary. As regards the high earning fixed deposits, I put up a list in the WhatsApp just very recently. The private financial institutions are still giving, they have a rating, of course, AAA rating or a AA rating or even a FAA rating. So they are giving good returns. So you may opt for those. But for me, you can say a PPF or a EPF is the new debt. So I still believe that we are going to go in those categories. Where to hold emergency funds then? Of course, again, I would say high earning savings bank account, depending upon whatever returns you are getting. Because in any ways, whatever returns you get on your liquid funds or mutual fund, debt mutual funds, they're going to be taxable. They're going to be short-term gains on that. So the after-tax returns are not going to be very lucrative anyways, even in the fixed deposits. So the high earning saving bank account will still give you, you can say, a better return than them, because it comes with a cushion of 80 DTA as well. So in some later video, I'll be dealing with deductions also in that part. So, ma'am, inflation adjusted returns are not nil; they are in negative. They're absolutely in negative, -3, -3.5%, which is absolutely eating up into our portfolio, even in our returns, I would say. So, जो हम equity से कमाते नहीं हैं, हम उसमें गवा देते हैं. And people are happy staying invested in these kind of fixed investments. If there is so much liquidity in the market, the government cannot give you fixed returns on the higher side, unless they alter the repo rate, unless they, you can say, diffuse the liquidity out of the market. You can say by raising the rates. That is the only way they can actually make the fixed return, you can say, instruments deliver big time. So that is no brainer in that sense. So I would say, even otherwise banking, I believe that it should be in a higher earning savings bank account only. Somewhere we have to keep the money. So why should we keep in the lower earning nationalized banks? Just for the safety part. Say safety part wise, to ma'am sabka hi 5 lakh ka insurance hai. So it is always, you can say, given in that. So Dr. Rishabh asks, up to how long we should stick to a particular fund as far as its performance is to be considered? Rishabh, I evaluate funds on a quarterly basis, I would say. And usually, you can say, I keep the funds which are giving me good returns. But if a fund is consistently not performing for 1 year, after 1 year, that fund goes out of my portfolio, sure. It does not stay in my portfolio. But 1 year is still a decent enough long rope, because I keep on tracking them almost every day, or at least every week, minimum 2 times or 3 times. But proper, you can say, analysis on overall scenario and the fund return scenario. Of course, ये नहीं होता ना कि सिर्फ वही फंड बुरा दे रहा है, अगर बाकी भी बुरे दे रहे हैं मार्केट के कंपैरिजन, तो we have to look out for that. क्या होता है ना, कई फंड्स ऐसे होते हैं जिनका एक्सपोजर जिस हिसाब से होता है कि मार्केट नीचे गई, लेकिन उनका बेस्ट अगर अक्टूबर में आया था. फॉर एग्जांपल SBI मैग्नम फंड है, सो मैग्नम 95, मैग्नम 98. सो वो फंड का बेस्ट आया था 15 अक्टूबर में. सो अब उसका बेस्ट जो है, इफ इट हैज क्रॉस्ड इवन विद द मार्केट एट 59 or 60, व्हाट डज दैट मीन? इट इज अ गुड फंड. IDFC वैल्यू फंड, स्टर्लिंग वैल्यू फंड, उसका बेस्ट अक्टूबर में था, वो क्रॉस कर गया है. सो देयर आर वेरियस फैक्टर्स. अब कुछ ऐसे फंड हैं जैसे फ्रैंकलिन स्मॉलर कंपनीज फंड है, वो फंड का बेस्ट इज, you can say, at least 20% far away from its all-time best in October. So what will you do? You have nothing. You will always credit it as a bad fund. क्योंकि मेरा एक है AMFI पे, मैं उसकी एक हायर पॉइंट वैल्यू देख के रख लेता हूँ फंड, whichever are there in my portfolio, and I keep tracking them accordingly. Of course, जब ट्रैकिंग चलती है तो सबकी चलती है बराबर, कि how is this performing, how is that performing, SIP returns कितनी है, लमसम वाले की कितनी है. So it every day it requires me at least 20 to 30 minutes in the morning, but that's it. Sometimes I'm not able to do it daily, but I make it a routine to at least do it, at least put in that half an hour at least twice or thrice a week. So that is my way of evaluating. There are multiple criteria. As you asked, what are the criteria? There are multiple criteria. So But of course, that is a topic for another day altogether. Maybe I'll take up mutual funds in one of the threads in these 25 weeks. So, in as a what are the parameters? How should we gauge and measure the returns? How should we value them? So, this is the way we calculate. Of course, finance can be an endless topic, but again, somewhere we have to put a full stop or draw a line. So that is the way. So let's keep focused to today's topic. How will the funds perform in 2022? It is, can say, anybody's guess. But जो हम सोचते हैं मार्केट हमेशा उससे उल्टा करती है. So keep your horses running in your mind and have the power of positive affirmations. You never know, the power of positive affirmations may make the, you can say, equity returns get even bigger than 2021 in 2022. So any more queries or I am done? Okay, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope it was a tad long, but yes, the point was put across, if not very much, you can say, in a short and sweet way, at least a medium and a sweet way, if I can. So thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.